What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Juan from the Max&JuanCast. Today, we're bringing you guys another NBA talk video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the NBA power rankings for the upcoming season. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. With that said, grab some popcorn, get some drinks, get some snacks, and enjoy the video.
So we did this 1 through 10 power rankings. We each have our own list. I haven't heard Juan's list. He hasn't heard mine. So we're just going to go through each spot. I'll give you mine. Juan will give you his. I'm going to start with first one, shocker, Los Angeles Lakers. They're defending champions. They got better this offseason. Braun and AD are still there last I checked. We're good to go for the season. We're the top dog.
No debates here.
Who do you have it to?
I have the Bucks.
God dang it. Why? I have the Bucks too. Why'd you put the Bucks too?
I told you I was going to have the same, bro. I had a feeling.
Why do you have the Bucks at 2?
As far as this power ranking goes, I'm going off regular season. So there's really no doubt in my mind that the Milwaukee Bucks are not going to win 85% of their games. It's just they're built for the regular season. They're built to win now. Their roster's still going to be good. Yes, I don't think they're going to win a championship, but they're definitely going to be good. And I don't see any other team that matches up with them right now. And if they do, they have to prove it. And a lot of these teams haven't proven it yet.
I went with the Bucks at 2 because I think they got better this offseason, and I'm betting on Giannis getting even better. Their playoff record scares me just because of the way they've lost and how it's been kind of epic meltdowns. But I went with them because I think they're the second best team on paper right now.
All right, so far we got the same 1 and 2. Who's your 3?
The Clippers, unfortunately, I didn't want to put them there. I wanted to put them lower, but Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, I know PG's coming off a tough look for my guy, clanking it off the side of the backboard, but they still have a good roster. Kawhi and PG are forces, I'm not going to lie. And the other teams I had, I just didn't buy it yet.
This is the first disagreement we have. At number 3, I have the Celtics. I do believe that they're the third best team talent-wise. I think they're stacked. They got a great head coach. And I don't feel like they're going anywhere. I just feel like Jason Tatum's going to get better. And I'm not confident in the Clippers. I don't think they're going to be better than the Celtics or the Bucks or the Lakers. They're not there yet. I have them definitely in my top 10, but not number 3.
Well, first, apparently we are a pro Celtics podcast by Juan's power ranking. 2, I think great coach might be a little bit of an overstatement about Brad Stevens. I know it's a topic for another day. I'm not sold on Brad, and the Celtics are banged up. They're not going to have Kemba. Jeff Teague's going to start. And I don't like their big men. I know Thies is good. Tristan Thompson's good, but they've been burnt by great big men because all they have is average to serviceable. That's why I didn't put them that high.
That's fair.
Who do you have at 4? This one for me was a little iffy because this is where the teams were kind of unproven from here on out.
Well, I have a team that proved themselves last year, and I got the Heat. I got the Heat at number 4.
I got the Nets, and I was kind of scared to put them there because they have Kyrie Irving on the team. And the Kevin Durant coming off Achilles injury, but man, this one's probably going to backfire. I'm thinking about it. I don't love it now that I put it there.
Wow.
But I'm going to rock with
that
it.
You have them that high. I am absolutely shocked because you wouldn't believe where I got the Nets. They're on here, but I don't think that's crazy. I don't think you're going to believe on where I got them.
I mean, it's probably going to be really low now that you're saying that. But man, I went with KD and Kyrie and the talent they have. Granted, they have a first-year head coach who was never coached before. That's scary. But that was my thinking. Kyrie, KD, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen. I just like the roster. And especially if they get James Harden. That's all I'm going to say. That's my last little thing. But I'm kind of regretting it now.
That definitely changes things. I'm going into this with them not having James Harden. So for me, it was more the KD aspect. Straight off KD is the reason why I put him in top 10. That's the only reason why. If they didn't have KD, I wouldn't have put him there. Okay.
I'm definitely scared about the points you brought up, and saying it out loud kind of scares me. But who's your four? The Heat?
Yeah, I got the Heat. I know you said earlier in the podcast that they didn't do enough to convince you that they got better. I still feel like Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero getting a year under his belt, Dragic coming back healthy, I still feel like they're going to be a force. Yeah, they may not make the finals, but they're still going to be a force in the regular season. And I put my faith in Jimmy. Jimmy's a top 10 player in the NBA. He's going to be an all-star. I feel like the Heat are going to be just fine.
I get it. I get what you're saying. I don't think that's going to be the case, but I get what you're saying.
All right, who do you got at 5?
I got the Utah Jazz, man.
Wow. Oh, here we go. We go.
Donovan Mitchell's going to make a bigger leap. We didn't put him on the leaps, but he was right after Jamal. Mike Conley is not going to be that bad again.
Oh, really?
I'm guaranteeing, to quote Charles Barkley. They're getting Bogdanovich back, which is good. Royce O'Neal's there. They've gotten a little better. Clarkson's back. I don't even want to talk about Jordan Clarkson, but Gobert's corona-free.
Joe Ingles?
This is a good team. Joe Ingles is there. Thank you. You're making my case for me at this point.
Safe to say, just before you get into the Jazz a little bit more, I do not have the Jazz on here.
You're crazy. You're absolutely nuts. There's not 10 better teams than the Jazz.
I tend to disagree, but continue.
Quinn Snyder's been one of the best coaches in the NBA. He just doesn't get the love because he's in Utah. This was a hell season for the Jazz, honestly. And I think they would have destroyed Denver if they had Bogdanovich. So that's why I got faith in them. And like I said before, Don Mitchell, Spida Mitchell, is going to come out, solidify himself as a star, in my opinion. So that's why I got them at 5.
That depends how much, but I do not believe in Mike Conley. I think Mike Conley's washed. I do not have faith in him. I love Donovan Mitchell, but not enough to carry the Jazz to be a top 10 team as of right now going into the season. My number 5 is the Los Angeles Clippers, the LA Slippers, as I like to call them. They're still a top 5 team. There's no way I couldn't leave them out my top 5. They have Kawhi Leonard. Yeah, I like to rag on Paul George, but Paul George is still a phenomenal player. He's real shaky in playoff situations, but this is going into the season. Their talent is right in front of your face. It's undeniable. They're going to be good. They're going to come back with vengeance. They're going to play a lot better. I got the Clippers at 5.
That's why I had them at 3. I believe all those things. I hope they don't come back with the vengeance, but they're arguably the second most talented team in the West. But let's move on to number 6. This is where I got the Miami Heat. Like we said earlier, I believe they took a step back. They've lost some guys. They're playing the long game for Giannis. That's why I put them at 6. I don't think they're a true contender.
This is where my list gets a little interesting. At 6, I got the Mavs. And this is solely off of my confidence in Luka Doncic and that he's going to make a push this year for being the best NBA player in the league. I truly believe that. And yeah, his team may not have a bunch of talent as all these other ones. They're probably the next to another team I have on here that I'm not going to give out, but they're probably the second team on this list that has the least amount of talent. I would acknowledge that. But Luka Doncic is a heck of a player. As long as Porzingis stays healthy, I feel like they're going to be really good to the point where they're probably going to be a top 3 team in the West. And that's why I got them at 6.
I think top 3 is really optimistic. I would say 5's their peak with this team. I could be wrong. I'd say 4. Let me rephrase. I think 4 is the peak of this team. And I like the talent on their team. I think you're underestimating it to a degree. Richardson's good. Finney Smith is good. Brunson's coming back. Dwight Powell's coming back. But Porzingis needs to stay healthy. And I think that's what's going to be a big part of their season is his health. I had them a little lower, but I love the Mavs going into the season. Future is bright in Dallas. There's no doubt.
Okay. Who do you got at 7?
This is where I got the Celtics.
Wow. This is low.
I don't love where Brad Stevens is right now. We've hailed him as the next great coach, but what has he done? And I know people are going to say, well, LeBron's there. Well, okay. LeBron's been gone 2 seasons now. You had one terrible season. I get it. It wasn't completely his fault. It was the Kyrie effect. Granted, I know I put the Nets at 4, and I'm talking bad about Kyrie. But I don't trust Brad Stevens as a coach, and I think Tatum's going to do Tatum things. Brown's going to take that leap, but Kemba's hurt, and I don't love the roster. I think it's kind of top-heavy.
I think the biggest hole that you hate, that I feel like, is the center position. You're definitely scared about that center spot.
Thies is solid, but Saul don't get it done.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. I hope Danny Ainge does make a move and improves that spot, but I just feel like they're going to be a lot better. They have Smart, they have Tatum, they have Brown. Yeah, Kemba's hurt right now, but he'll get healthy. I have faith in him. He'll get healthy, and they're going to be really good, and they're going to be a force to reckon with, and I feel like you got them way too low. My 7 team is the surprise of the bubble next to the Heat on the Western Conference, and that's the Nuggets. I got the Nuggets on there. I feel like you got to have them. They're a top 10 team in the NBA. Jokic, all-star player. We're talking about Jamal Murray on how we want him to make the leap. They're going to have a good roster. We're going to see what they do with Porter Jr. So I expect them to make a move. Yes, they did lose Grant. It is a head-scratcher, but that doesn't mean to leave them out of the top 10. They're still going to be a player in the West.
Well, I had them at 8, and I just want to talk about them now because you're talking about them also. Same thinking right there. If they had Grant, they might have been 4 for me. Grant was a big piece for them. A lot of this team is going to hinge on Jamal Murray taking the leap. Jokic is going to be Jokic, and seeing what Michael Porter Jr. does. If Michael Porter Jr. can kind of step into the Grant role or kind of expand on the offensive role of Grant, and they find a way to manufacture the defense of Grant, it's going to be a really good team. They're just a little bit too unproven right now for me to rank them higher than 8. And Juan had them at 7. So give me your 8 now, because I talked about my 8.
I got the Sixers. I got the Sixers at 8.
I didn't have them in the top 10. They were 11.
Wow. Really? Just missed it, huh? Okay.
I did have them as a surprise team, but I was still scared to put them top 11. I mean, top 10, excuse me.
No, I like the Sixers. Surprisingly, I like them obviously better than the Nets because I haven't said the Nets. But I like the Sixers. Even though we're talking about Joel Embiid earlier in the podcast, I believe that he will get in shape, and he is going to dominate the league. We'll see what happens with the Harden trade. I think even if they do get Harden, that's going to make my case even better. But they're going to be a handful in the East, especially with Doc Rivers. He's going to bring some culture to that team, hopefully some discipline, and not to the point when they're top 5. They're not high on my list, but they got to be on there. They have too much talent not to be.
I was just too scared to pick them. There's no other way around it, man. I was scared to pick them. I believe in Doc to the culture and stuff, but the scheme and talent was a little too hard for me to put them in top 10.
Just for the sake of, in case it does happen, Simmons leaves, they get Harden. Does your thought change?
Yeah, they probably move up to 7 and they push everyone back, and then my 10th team becomes my 11th team.
Okay, fair. Yeah, I probably get them at 7 too. I probably move them above the Nuggets, so I would agree with you. So who's your 9th?
I got Dallas Mavericks.
I like the fact that you got him in your top 10. Nice.
For all the reasons you said and more, that's why I had him here. But the health of the team scared me. Because, knock on wood, if Luka Doncic goes down, it's bad. And it gets bad quick. He's not an injury-prone player, but KP, I'm scared. Dwight Powell, he's coming back. I know they have the potential to be a lot higher, but right now, with the questions, that's why I had him at 9.
I get you. I had him a little bit higher. I think I have a little bit more faith in Luka Doncic, and I think a lot more highly of him.
Well, it didn't come down to Luka. It just came down to around Luka. Luka's a monster. He can make the case for best player of the league next year, and he probably is going to be in the MVP running. But who was your 9?
My number 9 was purely off respect, and you want to talk about coaches. This is a coach that definitely outcoached Brad Stevens and made you feel the way that you feel about Brad Stevens. I can almost guarantee it. And that's the Raptors. Yeah, the Raptors probably have the worst roster on here. Spicy P was MIA and very bad in the playoff series against the Celtics. I understand that. But they still got dogs, man. They're still going to be well coached. They still got Lowry. Pascal Siakam, I hope he grows. I really like him as a player. I didn't like what I seen in that playoff series, but I hope he takes that and he improves.
I think they've just lost too much off their roster to be considered in a top 10 team. Nick Nurse is a great coach. Lowry's a year older. Spicy P went MIA. Who are their bigs? They lost Mark. They lost Serge Ibaka.
Yeah, they did lose Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol, but Marc Gasol didn't really play for them all that much. Serge is going to be a big loss, yes, but I have a lot of faith in a guy who killed the Lakers, and I know you know this guy, and Chris Boucher.
I mean, he did murder the Lakers. It was bad. I'm not even going to lie. Came in hitting threes. He's a 3-and-D big man. He protects the rim, shoots threes. I don't know if I'm ready to trust him with the starting center spot, but I see why you have him at 9. If you want to put your trust in Nick Nurse, it might be well placed.
Yeah, and plus, not to mention Fred VanVleet. I know you're not a big fan of him, but he's still really good. He can really take a big leap himself this year.
He got his bag. He's going to be happy. He's a dog, man. He really is a dog. He's going to help the Raptors. But I'm still going to question their overall roster.
Gotcha. So you don't have them in your top 10, correct?
No, I had them a lot lower.
Okay. So who's your 10 then?
Phoenix Suns.
Wow.
I know it's really high praise for the Phoenix Suns, but that's how much I trust in the CP3 effect.
Okay. And obviously there's one team missing from my power rankings, and I think you know who they are. And that's the Brooklyn Nets. And I solely put them in this power rankings just because of KD. KD was the only reason. That's how much respect I have for KD. Right now, I would argue that he's probably the best player in the NBA. Yeah, he's coming off of the Achilles tear, and that's crazy to say. But when he was at the peak of his powers, and the last time we saw him, he was arguably better than LeBron. So you can't count out KD. That's just the facts. Kyrie Irving is the thing that scares me. Kyrie scares me. Steve Nash scares me. First-year coach. Have a lot of characters on that team. I don't know if they have it. I just don't see it. I'm purely putting them just because of KD to be a top 10 team. But if they get James Harden again, I know it sucks because he might get traded tomorrow morning after we do this podcast, and it will suck. But if they do get James Harden, obviously I'm putting them a lot higher.
I get all the concerns you have. Honestly, I'm really looking at my 4, and I don't like the Nets there. They probably should be down lower, but it's a risk I took. Granted, a lot of the teams I knocked for the health, and this team I kind of rewarded. I get it. I'm just betting on KD, honestly. That's what it came down to. Betting on KD and Kyrie not being a jerk and rooting the team. That's all it really came down to for me.
I get you, man. We're going to see. I'm excited. And if you guys have made it this far, Please remember to like, comment, share the video down below. Helps us out a lot, man. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.